we're running through the first base market, which went crazy this weekend. After Christian Walker signed for his 3 years and his 60 mil, and he gets 20 a year, there was a domino effect. And it started with Paul Goldschmidt, 1 year, a little over 12 million bucks, goes to the New York Yankees. It sounded like the Yankees were lightly in on Christian Walker, but a little bit afraid of the draft pick compensation and the price tag. So they pivot to another veteran who's actually older. He's 37 years old, coming off a very down season for his standards compared to what you look at a couple seasons ago. Still very good glove over at first base. You see the Brian Hoke tweet. Does this turn into his buddy Nolan Arenado going over to third base in a trade with the Yankees and the Cardinals, and then Jazz Chisholm moving over to second base? It sounds like Arenado would be more interested in something like this. Of course, a deal has to happen. The Yankees have to be interested. But anyway, once Goldie signed and set the market, it's like all of these first basemen making around the same money, 12-ish for next year, moved around. We talked about Lowe ending up with the Nationals. Josh Naylor gets traded from the Guardians to the Diamondbacks. The Guardians quickly pivot, or probably already had the deal in place for Carlos Santana at a similar price. So we can start with Goldie, but what did you think of the whole first base market basically getting done, or 80% done in a matter of hours?
Yeah, I think this is great, right? I think if you look at where the St. Louis Cardinals have been the last few years, a guy like Goldie, they can say what they want. They've been in a rebuild. You can call it what you want to. They have not been the St. Louis Cardinals of the past. So when you think about a guy like Goldie at 37, I'm a firm believer. My favorite players were, play some of their best baseball in their mid to late 30s. And I think Goldie is a guy, when you talk about the first base position, I think a guy that can be reinvigorated with the energy of the Bronx, right? With what the Yankees are trying to do year to year. It's a World Series of bust for the Yankees. So I think when you put that type of energy, that type of onus around Paul Goldschmidt, when you put a Aaron Judge around Paul Goldschmidt, Anthony Volpe, some of these type of guys, I think their visions align and what they want. I think it's a great fit. And then it's a year deal, right? So if it doesn't work out, if it looks like Father Time won, then oh well, you pivot and you move on. So, I think this is a great deal of a veteran, a winner, and a leader.
Also, if it doesn't work out at all, there will be first baseman available at the trade
Absolutely.
deadline coming up for the Yanks. So there is upside, of course, because it's a former MVP. I mean, yeah, the age, the bat speed, it definitely concerns you when you get to that level of your career, and you've seen the decline the past couple seasons. But he did have a much better second half than first half. Was doing some damage against lefties, cut the strikeouts down, showed a little bit more pop.
Yep.
Still hits the ball really hard, and
Yes.
knows the zone for the most part. A little more chase, but knows the zone. I mean, and with all of that being said, when we're like, man, is Goldie losing it? The bat was still about league average for OPS plus. It was 98.
Yep, and let me say this too when you talk about the Yankees aura, because I've been there. When you talk about the chase was up a little bit, the Yankees do a great job with their offensive players. They do like a monthly meeting, and they tell you, hey, your chase percentage is this, your end zone swing percentage is this, you barreled this many balls up. So they give you a good idea of how to get you back locked in if you get a little bit off track, right? Okay, I've been chasing a little bit too much, or I haven't been looking at my strength a little bit, as much. So I think they do a really good job. And I don't know what the Cardinals do, but I think Paul Goldschmidt is going to love being in the Yankees clubhouse with the analytic department they have. They also have one of the better analytic departments. I know we talk about the Dodgers and we talk about the Red Sox and Tampa Bay. The Yankees do a great job of bringing out the best in guys. And I think, and I love Anthony Rizzo, but I think this is an even better move. I think he still has a little bit more baseball left than Riz. And so I really like this move. And those are just the little things that we don't talk about that I think will take Paul Goldschmidt to another level. And his approach is tailor-made for that ballpark. He has always been a fastball, middle, backside, homer situation, pulling, breaking balls. So I think his approach is going to fit that stadium perfectly.
I'll tell you, the concern for me in the Yankees lineup right now is on base percentage. If you look at most of the numbers
Mm-hmm.
from last season, they're low. Besides Judge, you still only got, I think, one player that had an on base percentage above 325. Belly was 325. I think the only guy above 325 is Judge. Obviously, Soto's
Right.
gone. So there's just a lot of low on base percentage guys. I mean,
And still some
it's
swing
okay.
and
It's
miss.
Yankee
Still a lot of
Stadium.
swing and
Yeah, there's
miss.
swing and miss. So I don't know. There's a lot of downside in that lineup. It's it's going to be interesting. Obviously, some guys are going to progress. They're still, a pretty older veteran. I
Yeah.
mean, they got a little more athletic, of course, with Cody Bellinger. I liked that move. Goldie is definitely getting up there in age. You're not getting a
Is
super
there a
athlete there at
world,
first.
Scott? Is there a world hypothetically where, and I keep saying he's on the block, and I don't know how true it is, but a Luis Arraez would be like tailor made for a Yankees lineup. And I don't know if that would mean they would have to move off Jazz or somebody else, or stick Jazz at third and let Luis play some second. Listen, I know the metrics say that his best position is first base, but listen, the guy came up an infielder. I think he could play second base as good as Glaber, who I love. But I'm just thinking, like you said, to add some length to that lineup. It's a little bit more contact, a little bit more on base percentage. Just something that continues to pop in my head. A guy like that would be perfect. And oddly, he continues to get shot for some reason.
Yeah, we talked about him a little bit late last week. Todd Father picked him as, one of the players mentioned in trade rumors that he just doesn't understand. Kratz put it well last week. He said, you love what you see when he's on your team during the season. In the offseason, the front offices play the wins above replacement projection game, and he just doesn't rate well there. It's a guy
Yeah,
who is somewhat one-dimensional, right? He's not a runner. He's not a fielder. He's not a pop guy, but he gets on and he makes contact. So I like him. If it's my team, it gives me a little bit of the old school approach of having one guy that does something differently from everyone else. Can you have a team full of Luis Arraez players? No, but I agree with you. I think it'd be an interesting fit. I don't think the Yankees front office would be into him just based on the glove. I
yep,
think they're going to be
100%.
like, hey, we had defensive issues. This is not the guy for that, even though we do like having a little more contact. A guy who should get on base, 35-ish% of the time. But let me take you to a couple of the other moves. Here's one that I personally don't like. Carlos Santana has been a good player in the league for a while. He's had some ups and downs kind of later in his career. He's 39 years old. The same amount of money for the Guardians for him versus Josh Naylor. I have a problem with that. And I know they're able to platoon him. Santana was bopping lefties last year, and you can have Manzardo do some platoon action, utilize first base and DH. Santana just won a Gold Glove. He was exceptional there at first base. But if you're playing the age curve game, man, I'll take Josh Naylor in his prime coming off his
Absolutely.
first 30-plus homer season. Plus, knowing what he does within that group, he is the ignition, the spark plug.
Absolutely.
He's not the same personality, but you know what I'm saying with the Willie Adames every day. You're like excited to be around this guy. It's a character. So I think it's a great move for the Arizona Diamondbacks to replace Christian Walker. And I think it's going to hurt for the Guardians.
I agree. One thing about Josh Naylor, and I tweeted this, I don't know when I tweeted it a few days ago. You can like him or hate him, but one thing is he's the ultimate competitor. He shows up, he posts, and he comes ready to play for his teammates every day. And he's got a little bit of batshit crazy as well. You need guys like that, right? And I'm gonna be real with you. When you look at this trade, you can almost say the Diamondbacks needed a little bit of that little bit of that meanness, that nastiness. And Josh Naylor brings that, right? Like he's the guy that I want in my clubhouse because he'll tell you, pull your head out of your ass and let's go. Come on, guys. Like I think you need that. And he's also going to take accountability. So when you talk about the age game, I love this move for the Diamondbacks. I thought Pete Alonso would have been a great fit for the D-backs until they made this move. But I'm with you. I wasn't crazy about it. I love Carlos Santana, right? Team veteran. You know what he's going to be in the clubhouse as a leader. But it's just this was such a Cleveland Guardians move to me. You know what I mean? They didn't.
Yeah.
I don't think they got better with this move by any
I
means.
I think they really feel like they got better, and I think they're wrong. I think
I
they plug
agree.
into platoon action with Manzardo and Santana at times. Plus, yes, Santana is a better glove than Naylor. I think his glove, just based on age, will probably tick down a little bit. This is probably the best season he's ever had at first. And Naylor's glove, it gets hit sometimes on defensive metric. That's probably why if you look at the wins above replacement number, Santana was a 3 this past season for Fangraphs WAR, and 2.3 was the number for Naylor. And I'm like, yeah, that's why it's not the all-encompassing stat for me. I'll
Yeah,
take Josh
Juan Soto
Naylor over
also
Carlos
was in the
Santana
running
for
for a
next
Gold
season.
Glove.
Who is?
I said Juan Soto was also in the running for a Gold Glove. Not to pick on Juan
Thank you.
Soto. I'm just saying sometimes, like to your point, those metrics can be a little bit skewed because we also watch, right? We use our eyes sometimes, and the eyes don't lie.
And for me, the Diamondbacks gave up Slade Ciccone, who hasn't pitched well so far in the bigs. And they gave up a draft pick that it's a comp pick. It should be in the 70 to 75 range. So I thought that was a great move to pick up the pace for the loss of
Absolutely.
Christian Walker.